So I was told less than an hour ago, short and sweet. So I will certainly not mention that our speaker's vision of a Catholic university with an unsurpassed commitment to undergraduate education and increasingly strong graduate and professional programs has guided us since his 2005 inaugural address. I will not stress how grateful we are and continue to be for his consistent, thoughtful leadership in an era of momentous flux. It would be inappropriate for me to stress his capacity to make big decisions and quite simply his courage, that rarest of qualities, in everything from opening Notre Dame in the fall of 2020, that COVID year, to the invitation to President Obama to deliver the 2009 commencement address. You probably know that he is already the third longest serving president in the history of Notre Dame, and at 17 years, one of the country's longest serving college presidents. You can see around you his ability to inspire our supporters and the buildings and the new programs, even new schools that have resulted. You can guess that if you walk across the campus with him, he is besieged by alumni eager to express their thanks, or, honestly, to note an unresolved grievance, by students desperate for a selfie with their president, and by grateful staff. It's a good lesson in humility, since the person walking with him, say, hypothetically, the new provost, is often asked by students to exit the camera frame. What you might not know, but I do, after 10 weeks as provost, is how hard he works and how selfless he is in his approach to leadership. These characteristics are central to the advances we have made as an institution and to achieving the position we now hold. I could go on, but I will obey my instructions. Please join me in welcoming the 17th President of the University of Notre Dame, Reverend John I. Jenkins, C.S.C.
What I like about you, John, you're so good at obeying instructions. But hey, welcome everyone. Warmest greetings. Thank you for being with us today. It's so good to see you back here in person and speak to you. A signal event occurred this past summer. We closed our COVID response unit, the group created to conduct campus COVID testing and facilitate quarantine and isolation during the pandemic. With greatly reduced numbers and more manageable cases, we were able to move these operations back to University Health Services for our students and our Wellness Center for faculty and staff, offices that in normal time care for the health and well-being of our campus. While we must remain vigilant about COVID, we welcome the chance to devote the bulk of our time and attention to teaching and inquiry and to building an even more distinctive, a more distinguished Catholic research university. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, our faculty, for your efforts during the trying years of the pandemic. At our commencement weekend for the class of 2022, the graduates and their parents were effusive in their thanks for keeping our students on campus. They knew that their friends at other institutions were largely or exclusively online, and again, I heard heartfelt thanks for continuing in-person instruction. I was gratified, but I know that thanks should go to you, who made such instruction possible, and to our staff, who are frontline workers in our COVID response testing center, quarantine and isolation efforts, dining halls, residence halls, and other areas. I know how demanding the recent years have been for you personally and professionally, and I thank you for all your efforts. We have many pandemic heroes here on our campus. You know, when I meet with our current students or recent graduates, I ask them about their educational experience and almost invariably receive an enthusiastically positive evaluation. I then ask them about their best teachers and classes. They sometimes have trouble selecting just one, but eventually they give me one or two. I then ask, what was so good about that class or instructor? And they talk about the intellectual engagement, the stimulating lectures, and the class discussions. Yet they almost always go on to say that the faculty member took a personal interest in them, their learning, their well-being, and their future plans. I will not claim that we are the only university to offer intellectually stimulating, challenging, pedagogically effective classes, but I do believe that we are distinguished by the care you show for the learning, well-being, and future success of our students. In a recent survey of our alumni, which I will discuss below, the appreciation for this aspect of a Notre Dame education came through clearly. One graduate put it this way: I went to other universities before Notre Dame, and I was a number there. At Notre Dame, I was not. This care for our students has always been present, but it was prominently on display during the pandemic. It is part of what engenders the devotion our graduates have to Notre Dame, and I thank you for it. So in this address, I'm going to briefly address several topics. They are there on the screen. Leaders in new positions, the university's strategic planning process, a reputation and trust survey, reporting concerns and misconduct, diversity, equity, and inclusion, a historic investment in our people, and the Notre Dame Forum for 2022-23. So leaders in new positions. Some exceptional leaders have taken on new roles on my leadership council, and I want to introduce them briefly. John McGreevy, the very funny provost here, who so graciously introduced me today, is our new Charles and Jill Fisher Provost. Well known to many of us, John has been a distinguished faculty member in the history department for 25 years, serves as chair of the department for 6 years, and as the I.A. O'Shaughnessy Dean of the College of Arts and Letters for 10 years. John has brought great energy to this new role, having already conducted over 100 interviews and listening sessions since his appointment was announced. Heather Christofferson has taken on a new role as Vice President for Human Resources. An engineer by training who is well known for a strategic vision, inclusive leadership style, and commitment to innovation, Heather has previously served in leadership roles in development, strategic planning, maintenance, sustainability, and the Alumni Association. Ann Griffith is our new Vice President for University Enterprises and Events, having previously served as Assistant Vice President in that division. Anne has experience in development and in the President's office, and she brings creativity and great talent as a team builder to this new role. Mickey Kidder is our new Vice President for undergraduate enrollment, overseeing admissions, financial aid, student accounts, and pre-college programs. She is a proven leader, having served effectively in university enterprises and events, university relations, and in the President's and Executive Vice President's offices. Hugh Page has taken on the recently created position of Vice President for Institutional Transformation and Advisor to the President. I will say more about Hugh's role later in my remarks. Hugh is known and widely admired for his leadership as the former Dean of the first year of studies and as Vice President and Associate Provost, as well as a faculty member in theology and Africana studies. Finally, we're grateful to Tom Fugia for serving as interim Vice President, Associate Provost, and Dean of the Graduate School. Tom has been a faculty member in electrical engineering since 1998 and has served as interim Dean for the College of Engineering in 2018 to 20. A search committee is being elected, and we will begin a search for a new dean of the graduate school in this academic year. The university's strategic planning process. Every 10 years, the university engages in a process to develop a university-wide strategic framework, and we are in the midst of such a process now. The university-wide process is complementary to the planning of colleges, schools, institutes, centers, and other units. Some of these processes have been completed, some are underway, some are being contemplated. The university-wide planning process takes account of the plans and aspirations of the colleges, schools, and other units to leverage current areas of strength, discern new opportunities, incentivize interdisciplinary collaboration, and make investments that have the potential to be transformative. We will strive to craft a strategic framework that will guide Notre Dame to an even higher level, to even higher levels of excellence and impact in accord with its mission. Now, I've heard, on occasion, dismissive remarks from more jaded colleagues that such planning processes common at universities are simply bureaucratic exercises whose primary purpose is to provide to our work a rhetorical gloss that will attract money from donors. Although I'm certain that no one here present would make any such comments, let me offer a few remarks to help you respond to critical comments you may hear from some of your colleagues. A very worthwhile book recommended to me by John McGreevy is Empires of Ideas, Creating the Modern University from Germany to America to China. Its author is William E. Kirby, professor of China Studies at Harvard, who has served as chair of Harvard's Department of History, director of its Asia Center, and in the key administrative role of dean of Harvard's Faculty of Arts and Sciences. As the book's subtitle suggests, Kirby tells us the story of the rise of the research university in Germany, its development in the United States, and its emergence in China. He brings to his task both the skill of a distinguished historian and the insights of a seasoned academic administrator. The section of the book on American universities focuses on three universities Kirby knows very well: Harvard, the University of California at Berkeley, and Duke. The account of each offers valuable lessons, but Kirby is most complimentary at Duke University, which rose from a good regional school in the racially segregated South of the 1950s to become one of the nation's leading research universities. Many factors contributed to its rise, but Kirby lays most emphasis on what he calls Duke's culture of planning. In a succession of university plans from the late 1950s to the present, Duke developed plans that were unsparingly honest about its weaknesses, sought areas of strength that could be leveraged, were innovative, interdisciplinary, and enabled leaders to make tough choices among competing opportunities. Then, when a strategic plan was set, the university followed up with financial support and collective engagement to implement the plan. Such a culture of planning, Kirby argues, operative over several decades, moved Duke to become the distinguished research university it is today. I hope you share my pride in the progress Notre Dame has made as a research university in recent decades. Through the leadership of our predecessors, the accomplishments and aspirations of our faculty, the tremendous generosity of our benefactors, we are a much stronger research university today. We also have enhanced the culture of planning here at Notre Dame, putting us in a position to make more strategic and far-sighted investments for our future. With the current planning process, we have the opportunity to take even greater strides in the next decade. To do so, we must bring together the talents of our faculty with bold ideas and resources within a strategic framework that will enable Notre Dame to have impact in coming years. I would add that with respect to benefactors, I have learned that the most important factors in attracting a major gift are a compelling idea, a plausible plan, and able leaders for the effort. The individuals and families who are capable of making major gifts are generally shrewd and successful business leaders and investors. And such people are adept at distinguishing the inflated rhetoric of a sales pitch from an ambitious, fully articulated, and realistic plan within the vision of the university. The same is true of philanthropic foundations and state and federal government agencies from whom we seek even more funding. Our task is to generate ideas and plans and find leaders to implement them. A first step in this planning process was to expand our list of university goals. Previously, the 3 goals you see on this slide have defined our mission of teaching and inquiry. You have seen this before, so I will not read it. In this list, graduate and post-baccalaureate education are combined with research in Goal 3. However, because of the growing importance of post-baccalaureate education at Notre Dame, we have identified this part of our work as a separate goal, resulting in the following 4 university goals. I won't read the first 2, they're the same as before, but number 3, provide superb graduate and professional programs that are grounded in disciplinary excellence, foster interdisciplinary connections, and are applied to the world's most pressing problems, and 4, advanced human understanding through scholarship and research that seeks to heal, enlighten, and unify. These goals are important to our planning because they capture the many enduring commitments alongside the themes and new initiatives that will be highlighted. For example, the university is committed to offering an unsurpassed undergraduate education that develops the whole person, mind, body, and spirit. We strive to accomplish this through superb instruction in our classrooms, opportunities for undergraduate research, intellectually engaging study abroad programs, the formation of supportive, vibrant communities in our residence halls, a robust campus ministry program, recreational and varsity athletic programs, service opportunities, university health services, and in many other ways. These efforts, reflected in our second university goal, will remain central to our work. Moreover, our Catholic mission will inform our endeavors in accord with the first goal in efforts as disparate as work for a sustainable future and service to the global church. Although our strategic framework will focus on emerging opportunities and new initiatives, the enduring commitments captured in our university goals will remain central and guide our decisions and actions. Having settled on these university goals, several themes were formulated. The first step in identifying these themes was the valuable moment to see, courage to act process begun by Provost Mari-Lynn Miranda early in 2021. I want to thank Provost Miranda for initiating these efforts and to all our colleagues who worked so hard on developing more than 100 proposals. These proposals, arising as they did from the initiative of our faculty, gave us a valuable picture of the current interests, activities, and aspirations in the Academy. We reviewed the proposals and grouped them under several thematic headings. In addition, we talked with university leaders, especially the deans, from whom we learned of the priorities of their respective colleges, schools, institutes, and other units. We found this process led us to a set of themes that were aligned with those that emerged from the moment to see, courage to act process. From these 2 processes, then, we developed the following 7 academic themes: opportunities for excellence or distinction in key research and scholarship areas, care for our common home, poverty and equity, health and well-being, global, international, diversity, equity, and inclusion, a Catholic university in service to the church and the world. In addition to these academic themes, we added 2 more that touched on the university operations needed to make us successful with respect to these themes and university goals: stewardship and external engagement. Having established the 7 academic themes, we formed last spring 7 advisory committees, 1 around each theme. Each committee is co-chaired by 2 faculty members, and 73 of our faculty colleagues from across the colleges and disciplines serve on these committees. 7 deans are also members of these committees, though none as co-chairs. A list of the themes, the committee's charge, and its key questions and its membership can be found at the website listed at the bottom in the gold bar there. I encourage you to go to that website to take a look for the questions these committees are grappling with and the membership of these committees. Each committee is working to identify a small set of priority areas in which Notre Dame can be distinguished and have an impact with respect to the challenges central to the nation, the world, and the church. They assess the current state, both strengths and weaknesses, of our efforts at the university related to their respective themes, identify priority areas where Notre Dame can make significant impact, and develop recommendations about initiatives, resources, and structures needed for us to be successful. Each committee has been asked to review and consider the proposals from the Moment to See, Courage to Act process relevant to their theme, and as they see fit, include these in their recommendations. The academic theme committees were formed last spring and have worked over the summer and will continue to work in the fall to formulate recommendations. The target for submitting their reports is the end of this calendar year. The Stewardship and External Engagement Committees, whose primary charge is the support of these academic initiatives, will follow the other theme advisory reports and will have a later report out date. I offer, on behalf of us all, our heartfelt thanks to our colleagues who are serving on these committees and are devoted significant time and effort to this important work. We chose for the committees faculty leaders who have active research programs, teaching responsibilities, and in some cases, administrative duties. They received no relief from these other responsibilities to take on this task, yet they have responded generously. I thank them on behalf of the university for their service that will help shape the future of Notre Dame. Once we have the reports from these various committees, we will need to weave them together into a comprehensive strategic plan. I have asked John McGreevy, our new provost, to draft this framework. He will work with university leaders such as Shannon Cullinan, our executive vice president, our deans, and other leaders across the university in this effort. He will submit the draft to me, and we will present it to the Board of Trustees. Let me say a word here about why we are calling the final product a strategic framework rather than a plan. It would be naive to think that the process I have described will lead us to a roadmap that we will be able to follow without alteration for the next 10 years. There will inevitably be unseen opportunities as well as unanticipated obstacles arising inside and outside Notre Dame that will lead us to adapt and revise our plans. As they say in the boxing world, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. What we hope for from the planning process are priorities and key initiatives on which we can begin to work. When revisions are required, we will have at hand the framework's priorities, principles, and themes that will guide us as we think through the necessary adjustments and adaptations. We want a framework that orients our thinking and our actions without imposing counterproductive constraints. The University of Notre Dame has been extraordinarily blessed with resources, talented people, and the dedication of so many who work for and support it. Our challenge at Notre Dame in the next decade will be to produce fruits worthy of the blessings we have received and the hopes so many have in the university to be, ever more powerfully, a force for good in the nation, the world, and the church. Next topic, reputational and trust research. Last winter, the university engaged Edelman, the world's largest communications firm, to work with Joel Curran, our vice president for public affairs and communication, and his team on a comprehensive study of Notre Dame's reputation among certain groups. Although our primary concern at Notre Dame is with the actual quality of our teaching, research, and related activities, it would be foolish to neglect public perceptions of the university, for we know that such perceptions drive the students who apply to attend, the faculty we can attract, and the support we receive from benefactors. In this regard, I'm reminded of a conversation I have with a colleague who works in the broad area of legal philosophy at Princeton. He told me that Princeton regularly receives inquiries about and requests for applications to its excellent law school. This is remarkable because Princeton has never had a law school. Apparently, when your academic reputation is as sterling as Princeton's, even your non-existent programs are well regarded and highly rated. Academic leaders and scholars in relevant fields at other distinguished institutions are probably the most important groups in shaping our academic reputation. It is also important, though, to understand the views of key sectors of the general public and our alumni, which were the focus of the Edelman study. Edelman conducted both a quantitative survey of the national informed public, the Catholic informed public, opinion leaders, and Notre Dame alumni and donors, and it disaggregated the results from these various groups. You can see there listed the various groups that were targeted and that would define them. It also conducted qualitative focus groups with members of the informed public, opinion leaders, and Notre Dame alumni. The results could be compared to the results from the same survey of a cohort of 9 institutions, 6 of which were top AAU private universities and 2 of which were top AAU public universities. Among the major takeaways was Notre Dame is a highly regarded institution overall. Edelman calculates for each institution what they call a trust score, which is commonly regarded in such surveys as a key barometer. It is based on a rating by participants on a scale of 1 to 9 in response to the question, how much do you trust institution X? The number of those who are low trusters, that is, who rank the institution from 1 to 4, are then subtracted from the number who are high trusters, those who rank it from 7 to 9, to arrive at a net score for each institution, indicating the confidence respondents have in the institution. Among the comparison cohort, Notre Dame was among the top 3, behind one institution in a virtual tie with the second. Consistent with the Edelman survey, a recent larger public survey conducted by the firm Morning Consult found that Notre Dame was the 4th most trusted institution among 135 top doctoral research universities. Another noteworthy result from the Edelman survey was that a significant and roughly equal percentage of respondents viewed Notre Dame as very conservative on one hand and very liberal on the other. The result no doubt reflects the views of respondents in our polarized society, but I would suggest it also reflects the fact that at Notre Dame, views are held and publicly expressed that range across the spectrum of opinions in the United States. I understand that this range of views creates tensions and draws criticisms from one group or another. Still, I believe it is a great strength of the university that in recent years we have sponsored addresses from Nicole Hannah-Jones and Justice Clarence Thomas, that Speaker Paul Ryan and Senator Joe Donnelly held positions in the Keough School of Global Affairs, that Pete Buttigieg was a fellow in our Institute for Advanced Studies, and Condoleezza Rice spoke prominently last year on campus. I hope we continue to welcome such a breadth of views on our campus. In the survey, our alumni saw Notre Dame as a premier university and speak positively about their time there. While valuing the academic quality of their education, they saw the university distinguished by a strong sense of community, its emphasis on developing the whole person, and the challenge to serve the greater good. Along with such positive comments, though, went high expectations, particularly around transparency, accountability, and inclusion. They are critical of the university in those areas they saw it failing to live up to these standards. Consistent with previous studies, the Edelman survey showed that Notre Dame is well known and well regarded for its Catholic mission and football, but its research and global presence are less well known. The survey reveals that those who trust in the university as low are those who are least likely to associate it with academic quality, research, and global presence. We must strive to inform national and global audience about our academic work. We also found concerns that an emphasis on research may diminish the quality of teaching and questions about our commitment to diversity and to freedom of thought. In addition, we see an opportunity to highlight how Notre Dame's mission and values contribute to the broader social good. Obviously, we must continue to address any deficiencies where they exist, but we must work to communicate effectively what we are doing. Joel Curran and his team will identify key messages and craft a strategy to communicate these to various constituencies. He is gathering those who oversee communications from units across the university to leverage our collective capabilities and effectively communicate about our work. He and his colleagues will work toward a campus-wide communication plan to coordinate these efforts. We need your help. We must work together to help various constituencies appreciate the important work that you, our faculty, are doing in research, teaching, and global engagement, as well as the university's efforts with diversity and inclusion. Next, reporting concerns and misconduct. The high degree of trust the public places in Notre Dame is certainly encouraging, but it also brings risk. For the greater the trust in an institution, the higher are the expectations and the more damage that will occur if people believe that trust has been betrayed. We have seen the reputational blow to American higher education by the Varsity Blues scandal, which involved dishonest practices and missions at several institutions, not Notre Dame. We have also seen Michigan State, the University of Michigan, USC, and Ohio State, to name just a few, suffering staggering financial and reputational consequences from employees who were serial sexual abusers and whose behavior went unchecked. All these cases should remind us of the need for vigilance. The Office of Human Resources has instituted a program, Living Notre Dame Values. It attempts to foster a speak-up culture in which concerns and opinions, however critical, are constructively expressed, heard, and receive an appropriate response. We must also emphasize the importance of reporting misconduct of any kind and ensuring that appropriate follow-up to such reports. To the extent we strengthen a speak-up culture at Notre Dame, we will not only lessen the financial and reputational risk of unchecked misconduct, we will also be more effective in our common work. If you learn of any misconduct at the university, you can find on the Office of the President's website a site entitled Reporting Concern, which lists the various ways in which concerns can be raised or misconduct of any kind reported. This is a wordy slide, I know, but you'll find that same list of options on the website if you go to it. You will find there a way of reporting anonymously if you prefer. Let me also take this opportunity to remind you, as I have done previously, that the university's ethical conduct policy requires every employee of the university, each one of us, to report misconduct that you believe has occurred. The university's non-retaliation policy prohibits retaliation against anyone reporting misconduct and states that anyone who retaliates will be subject to disciplinary action up to and including dismissal. If you see something, say something. Do so because it serves the university. Most importantly, do so because it is the right thing, the ethical thing to do, and will make our community better. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. The 2021 Trustee Task Force Report, Advancing Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Notre Dame, gave us a charge and a framework for making progress, and I am grateful to individuals and divisions across campus who have responded energetically. Having reviewed some steps we have taken in letters to campus in June 2021 and on Martin Luther King Day 2022, I will very briefly report on further progress. On July 1st, Hugh Page assumed the newly created position of Vice President for Institutional Transformation and Advisor to the President. In this position, Hugh's role will be to coordinate, to collaborate with, and be a catalyst for progress on diversity, equity, and inclusion. As he gets underway in his role, I look forward to his contributions to positive institutional transformation. As part of our strategic planning process, a theme advisory committee dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion consists of faculty colleagues and university leaders and is chaired by Professor Ernest Morel and Diane Deserto. They are considering how the university's academic core, the extraordinary teaching, research, and scholarship you do, can contribute in even more significant ways to creating a more diverse and inclusive Notre Dame, and more broadly, a more just and equitable society. We continue to strive to make progress in hiring diverse faculty, and I thank colleagues and departments for their efforts in recent years. Though we can be proud of recent efforts, more needs to be done. While we're able to announce that last year's incoming undergraduate class was the most diverse in the university's history, I'm pleased to say that this year's incoming class is even more diverse. 40% of the class are students of color or international students, up from 39% last year. 9% are Black or African American, 13% are Hispanic or Latino, 1% are Native American, and 10% are Asian or Pacific Islander. We will continue to make progress with regard to welcoming students. We continue to make progress with regard to welcoming students who are the first generation of their families to attend college or from low socioeconomic backgrounds, with 19% of this year's class being Pell-eligible students or first gen. We continue to invest in support structures so that all students can flourish here through the allocation of resources to our Transformational Leaders Program and other scholarship programs, and by enhancing support structures in the colleges. And thanks to the generous support from benefactors, we will start construction on a new Diversity and Inclusion Center in the La Fortune Student Center in December, designed with input from our students. The Office of Strategic Planning and Institutional Research completed its campus-wide inventory of current diversity programs and initiatives, and has shared the results of that inventory with a wide array of campus partners who participated in creating it. This is a first step in raising awareness about the efforts that are underway and ultimately identifying any gaps and potentially scaling up these programs that are most effective. Again, this is by no means an exhaustive list, but it offers some examples of the good work being done. I thank you for the many ways you are contributing to these and other initiatives, and I ask for your continued commitment. A historic investment in our people. In July, the university announced a $25 million commitment to increase base compensation for eligible faculty, staff, and student workers. This followed a $14 million one-time Employee Appreciation Award for eligible employees in April and a $50 million pool for this year's annual merit increases. The base compensation increase and the merit pool together constitute the largest investment in recurring compensation in the 180-year history of the university. The faculty and staff who do the work of Notre Dame are our most valuable asset, and we are fortunate to be able to be in a position to make this investment. I want to thank Shannon Cullinan, our Executive Vice President, Trent Grocock, our Vice President for Finance, and their teams, who were able to develop a plan for this investment without a corresponding increase in student charges. I also thank our Board of Trustees who reviewed and approved this plan. One of Notre Dame's greatest strengths has been maintaining a disciplined financial strategy that ensures the long-term financial health of the institution. We are blessed to have one of higher education's largest endowments, but the vast majority of those resources are dedicated to a specific purpose, such as the support of an endowed chair or a specific program, and cannot be directed to other needs. It required a good deal of thought, planning, care, and skill to direct such significant permanent resources to this historic investment while not reducing Notre Dame's affordability and accessibility to prospective students. I thank everyone who worked so hard to make this possible. So, the ND Forum. Finally, I want to put in a plug for the 2022-23 Notre Dame Forum on the theme War and Peace. Since 2005, we have chosen a theme of importance to our mission and the world and put on events intended to stimulate reflection and discussions across campus, in classrooms, labs, studios, workplaces, dining halls, residence halls, and in walks across campuses. We've also found that our alumni and friends of the university enjoy these forum topics and engage with them. Our practice has been for the President's Office to host one or more keynote events and to encourage further discussion in classes and through events sponsored across campus by departments, institutes, centers, student organizations, and other groups of the many aspects of this broad theme. On October 3rd, we will sponsor the Theater War Productions, an adapted performance of Aeschylus's The Suppliants that will include in its cast both professional actors and members of our campus community. Theater of War Productions seeks to make theatrical performances a catalyst for discussions in our community, and I hope it does so successfully here at Notre Dame. I encourage you to engage the forum theme in whatever way is appropriate. For more information, or if you want your department or organization, or if you or your department or organization are planning events that relate to the forum theme that you would like to see listed on our forum website, I invite you to visit this website, forum2022nd.edu. I guess it's not on, yeah, it's up there. But just go to that website and there'll be a place where you can submit your event. At a time when, as the United Nations reports, nearly a quarter of the world's populations live in conflict-affected areas and an estimated 274 million people need humanitarian assistance due to conflict, it is important to give our attention to the theme of war and peace. Let us not only study this sad and persistent human reality of war, but strive to contribute to a world in which peace, justice, and forgiveness predominate over destruction, cruelty, hatred, and death that war engenders. One final item. Please indulge me as I engage in one final item not in my earlier list. I'm looking around for someone. I can't see it because it's dark. But recently, Chris Maziar announced that she would be stepping down in her role as Vice President and Senior Associate Provost at the end of this calendar year, and will take a well-deserved administrative leave before returning to the classroom. Chris has been in the Provost's office since 2004 and has overseen a number of areas with great skill, dedication, and grace. Last spring, she stepped into the role of acting provost, in which she served from January 1st until June 30th. She was simply invaluable, indispensable to me and to Notre Dame at this time. She is exceptional in a combination of skill, experience, and selfless dedication in service to this university. You know, when I was young, I imagined the most gratifying experience would be to set lofty goals, apply oneself over a long period, and achieve them. With age and a bit more wisdom, I've realized the most gratifying experience is setting lofty goals with others and achieving them together. For in the end, as proud as you may be of an accomplishment, you treasure more the colleagues with whom you work to achieve it. Chris is a colleague that I, and I know many of you, will always treasure. Please join me in thanking this talented, dedicated, wonderful colleague, and I'm going to ask her to stand. Where is she? Thank you, Chris. I'll conclude by simply thanking you for your time today and your colleagueship always. Thank you for all you do to serve the mission of Notre Dame, which is critically needed in the world. I am excited to continue our work and through our strategic planning discussions to build an even stronger university in service to the world. I will take questions, but I'll do so at the reception to which I invite you right now. I'll see you out there. Thank you very much.